I was going to ask actually Erin and Rebecca about mass, and this also kind of connects into what Robert Bolin brought up last time, which is the grease trap story at the Blue Genie Theater.
That's your story.
This kind of constellation, because this is sort of like the early 2000s.
Well, I mean, I think it's the lead-in is that essentially Jaime and I overlapped in that when you were leaving undergrad, I was starting grad. So I was a grad from 04 to 07, same as Robert Bolin. So we had crossover, saw you around the studio a little bit in art openings and whatnot. So I think from the perspective of like that time frame as a grad student, I think what we were doing, you talked about Dee Berman, Women at Work. Dee Berman was the first time I ever saw your work, I think in person, right? You showed there. Creative Research Lab was always kind of like a go-to because of that complex. Art House, Gallery Lombardi, East Side. The two bars were Peacock Lounge and Long Branch. I think. Long Branch forever. Art Palace. Sorry, we'd always go to Art Palace. Yeah. I don't remember going to like OK Mountain that much until I moved back, but when we were in grad school and what Robert was talking about, and I think when we had drinks the other night, I made the connection that the two spaces I've been involved with both started in old auto shops. So it was like the stinky auto shop of what Mass is. Mass's original space was next to the old Blue Theater over at Canopy. When we were in grad school, I was a second year metals. Robert was sculpture, and Jared Stephenson, this is when there's a 3-year program, he was a sculpture grad, and he had sort of the brainchild to start Mass, and he kind of gathered a bunch of the grad students together at Spider House Coffee House to sort of propose this idea. Jules Buck-Jones was a first year. He was involved, Matt Revolts, Vung, I don't remember Vung's last name, Rich Mansfield, Scott Proctor, so a lot of people who are still around. But the nice thing about Mass is that as grad students graduated, it just kind of kept being passed down. I think Jules is one of the ones that stayed on the longest, and it still is to this day. A lot of the people who run it are current or former UT grads. So it's kind of a nice space for the way it started and the way it's continued to go, is a place for grad students to experiment, and it's just kind of took off from there, and they started just really branch out and do some really incredible wacky projects. Trying to re-immerse myself, and got approached by people like Jonas Crisco and some other artists that wanted to try to find a space to there were a lot of really great artists in Austin showing work that didn't necessarily get a chance or opportunity in the galleries that were around to show. So through a lot of meetings and just reaching out to friends and networking, ICOSA kind of started as a 20-person collective, which also is an auto shop, which was Juke's Auto Shop, which was connected to Pump Project, and we walked in and it was a complete mess, but once again took on the battle of cleaning out a really stinky auto shop and trying to make it into an exhibition space. It really allowed a lot of artists to collaborate, curate, and just kind of a sounding board or experimental space, try ideas. And we're still going now. We moved over to Canopy about 6 years ago. Yeah, but that's how I met Rebecca. I think the first time we started knowing each other and working together is when we went to the old auto shop and you were at Pump Project.